Just as we're about to fix the broken legacy code, the boss calls a departmental meeting. It seems our company has been purchased by another company called Shapers and Movers, and they're interested in rectangles as well as squares. We need to be able to add rectangles on our web page in addition to the 2 squares we're supposed to already have. As we shuffle out of the meeting, we're told to add a large rectangle in the middle of the web page. Before we can ask for more information, the boss disappears for a very important meeting with the graphics department. This is just great. We haven't fixed our existing problem before another requirement is dumped on us. We briefly wonder if they have these problems next door at Circles Incorporated. Let's add parameters for height and width. With the addition of the width and height parameters, the function can now draw rectangles of any size at any location on the canvas. These 4 parameters make our function much more flexible. It can draw squares and rectangles. The fillRect and structRect method calls are very readable too. It's also getting more complex to call our function. We started with a function that took no parameters. We then moved to 2 parameters. Now we're up to 4. When we call the function, we begin to look as incomprehensible as the first fillRect we encountered. We have to constantly refer back to our function definition just to remember the order of the parameters. Let's load this in Firefox. Here's the result of our latest version. Now we have 2 versions of legacy code, the original version that passes no parameters and the next version that only expects left and top values. Neither of them work anymore. We seem to be breaking code all over the place. This happens all the time in projects, especially with ones that have multiple developers. Someone will get a clever idea for a way to extend a function, test that extension, and never realize how much code they broke in other places. For those that were screaming earlier about the global scope, you're probably shaking your head in agreement at this point. As silly as this sample is, it is a real example of what happens in projects all the time. The good news is, we have our rectangle working. The bad news is, neither of our squares is drawing. So much for going home on time today. We can now draw a rectangle or square anywhere on the page, as long as it is within the boundaries of the canvas object. The new code is great, but we still have to do something about our legacy code.